We're just waiting for Terry to join us. Women love him, men want to be him. He should be here in a minute. I love this chain. Got to spin around in it a lot. I don't know where Terry is. Terry, you'll be late for your own funeral. We're joined by Terry, London's most eligible bachelor. How are you doing, Terry?
Bloody hell, what an intro.
Okay, so you've got Fury to win, I've got Usyk to win. No problem. I'm going to go Usyk late stoppage because sometimes I just think that karma's a bitch. But the smart money from all the money men and all the gamblers, from what I'm hearing on the grapevine, a lot of people are backing draw, aren't they? So what do you think?
I hope not. I just hope not, because like we need this thing resolved once and for all. So I think, didn't they say regardless of how this fight goes, mate, the belts will be scattered. Well, definitely the IBF will be pulled out the mix anyway. So you may as well just get it undisputed and be done with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So that aside, and the media, they're an utter joke. The heavyweight division aside, let's move on to some fights that have been happening in UK heavyweight division. Yui's had another win. He's a long way off though, isn't he, do you think, at the moment?
I won't say a long way off. I think he's
I'm on about competing for world honours.
well, he'll compete for world honors for no other reason than the guys that could beat him are all getting old now. So he's people forget this. I think I said this on my show. He's younger than Solomon Dakers.
Yeah.
And he's got like 24, 25 more fights than Solly Dakers. So if these guys are all trying for world titles, what stops Hughie?
Yeah. Well,
Hughie's almost the heavyweight Canelo.
Yeah, but he could have a couple of fights and all of a sudden an offer could come in and he could be in the mix, couldn't he, Hughie, at the end of the year? That's how it can turn on its head, can't it, boxing? So I just hope he's ticking over and he's going to be ready, if he gets that offer. But I don't want to see him rush, because if they throw him in with a fight for a few quid and it goes pear-shaped, you're a year out again, aren't you? Or 10 months back out, and then you've got to climb the ladder again. And there's only so many times you can get back on saddle, and I think.
Yeah, but what worried me about his performance was it was labored. Like the old Hughie was dynamic. Yes, there wasn't the savage knockouts that you wanted in the heavyweight, but he was dynamic and he could move. And even when you look at his defeats, like there's not a lot of miles on Hughie. Like physically, there's not a lot of miles on him. And so I think he's a guy that you could put in that kind of Dubois Hrgovic picture. And I don't think he'd be out of place there in a year's time. I just don't. But you have to do it the right way. Give him 2 or 3 more of these kind of fights just to get his level and to get into that routine of training and fighting, and then you start pushing him through.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from, mate. I see where you're coming from. Well, he's 28-3 now, and he's fighting on his show in at Sky Dome at Coventry.
In Coventry, yeah.
29th of June. So, Matt, let me know about that queue. All right, I'll come and drop it off in Coventry for you. All right, let me know. Burroughs and Watt, 1930, first edition. I'm selling it, Terry.
Isn't that your?
Hey?
Isn't that your Excalibur, your sword?
Yeah, I've got another one now, but this is, I should keep it another 6 years, then it's 100-year-old. That's what I've been told by this Q dude. Up here, Martin Chesworth, is it? But now I'm gonna out it, I think. I don't use it, and I've got this other one as well. So I've got one. I like old cues. I haven't sort of reconditioned them, because in olden days the balls were made of ivory, weren't they? And they were a bit heavier, so shaft had to be a bit thicker. Now it doesn't.
Hey.
It's made of anthracite. They're made of anthracite now, so. But I bet it's fantastic. The cue, I like it a lot, but it's just stood doing that, and I've got this other one. Got a 1947 one, a Smith and Nelson from Leeds, which I like. I just feel like I'm playing better with that one, but it is what it is, isn't it? Right. Lomachenko, Terry. I know you're a fan. John Cambosa in 11th to pick up the IBF and the IBO. Are we going to have him and Tank next? Come
on. I would say no. And the reason I'd say no is Bob likes to make fights in-house. So if he's going to get some money out of Loma, it will be against Shakur Stevenson. And then the winner of that would get Tank. He wouldn't set his guy up for defeat until he's taken all the money out of Top Rank that he can.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Going to be interesting, that, isn't it? Okay. What do you think of Loma's performance, though?
Fought like an old man, and I don't mean that disrespectfully.
Oh, hang on.
I don't.
Fought like an old man.
Yeah. So if you remember, like the original version of Loma, yeah, that fight with Kambosos doesn't go 6 rounds with that version of Loma. But we talked about the same thing with Usyk. He hasn't got the same legs he had before. He hasn't got the same reflexes. So he's having to take more shots to give more shots, which is making his fights more entertaining. He still wins because he's a damn good boxer, but he's not what we're used to seeing Loma do, if that makes sense. Because remember, this is George Kambosos that was neck and neck with Lee Selby. This is George Kambosos that was neck and neck with Maxie Hughes. Like, let's not kid ourselves about what level he's at. And, you know, the old Loma would have had him out in 6. So I'm not saying that it was a bad performance. I'm just saying we're seeing that kind of that Loma on the downside of his career now. And maybe that's going to be good for some of the fights we get to watch now.
Lauren Price, world champion after 7 fights and under 100 minutes in the ring.
Wow. You're not happy about this, are you?
No. How can that be? No. How can that be? I know kids that have done 400 minutes in ring and they're not even near an English title yet. So I don't like to see them paraded as world champions after a handful of fights. It's not right. It doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel earned.
Yeah.
And that's not to disrespect Lauren Price, but we should remember she is an Olympic gold medalist. So in Lauren's defense, she fought harder people winning the Olympic medal than she's fighting now.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. So her being a world champion in the pro ranks doesn't mean anything because all the best fighters are in the amateur ranks. All the people that could beat Lauren Price today are in the amateurs. That's the reality of it. And so we're reaching this problem with women's boxing, aren't we, Pork? Where if you look at Clarissa Shields, there's no way you want to see Clarissa Shields fight now. It's done. Her boxing career is done now. You look at Tasha Jonas, there's a Katie Taylor rematch, and then there's probably no one we want to see her fight. And it's a real shame that there's no depth in the women's divisions that would make it, that give you a sustainable career. There just isn't, because there's not enough money on the pro side to convince people to leave the amateur side.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. Do you think Lauren Price is the poster girl for women's boxing, yes or no?
Was it you that was upset that they were parading the personal life all over TV?
You know what I mean? You got to watch what you can. I had to go through our advisors before I said that one. I had to say, how can I approach this subject? You know what I really wanted to say, don't you? She went, no, don't say that. Don't say that. You're going to have to say this and leave them thinking what it were. So it's all this, because we get these new things sent from YouTube, what we can and can't. How you have to put it into context. It's all nonsense.
Well, no, stop. We need to be very clear about this, Russ. And this has really got under my skin.
Don't be too clear, you get me in trouble.
No. So everyone needs to understand that the origins of the word woke are actually what people mean when they say they're anti-woke. So like because I had friends who came over from America in like 99, 2000, And they'd always say, bro, you need to stay woke in this world. And you'd be like, what the hell do you mean? And so what they'd say is, it's a mistrust of big pharma, mistrust of mainstream media, and understanding that the government doesn't care about you. The government works in its own self-interest. It was about, understanding that oppression is really about the people who have stuff and people who don't have stuff. They will divide groups based on race, gender, sexuality, just so they can distract you from the fact that you don't have any money and they do. That's what woke was. Yeah. That's exactly what woke was. And that was all those guys like the 5% Nation, the Nation of Islam. That's what woke was. And somehow people are now turning it into this thing that you're just a bit soft. And it's like, no. Those guys that didn't believe in the vaccine, that's them. That's the OG, like the Black Israelites and all those guys. No. That's what woke was back in the day. It was that freedom. It was all about freedom. And, distrust of institutions and distrust of corporate interests. And it's mad how it's flipped around.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, I don't want to see all that carry on. No offense.
Here's what I will say, though. No, but here's what I will say, Russ. There are two things about the Lauren Price career that I take issue with. Issue number one, that they're still using the GB facilities, and the only way you can use those GB facilities is by agreeing for McCracken to train and manage you. I think that's a bit messed up. That's a massive conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder how people are getting selected for GB.
Filling the boots up there, and I've been doing it since 2010, is it, or 11? 10.
Yeah. So either...
2009 he's been up there since McCracken, hasn't
he? Yeah. So either they can't use the facilities, or we can all go up and use those facilities. It can't be reserved for people that McCracken says I can make money from. That's not fair. That's not right. And they keep talking about, is this what do they call it? This podium to professional pathway. And it's like, well, how do you qualify for that? You know what I mean? That we don't have any rules on how they qualify. It just seems that they've made this thing for McCracken to benefit. But if we don't win any medals in this Olympics, McCracken's gone, because there's no boxing at the 2028 Olympics anyway. So what do you need a GB Performance Center for when we're not going to be competing in an Olympic sport? So what's going to happen to that EIS? No one's asking these questions, but there's a real possibility that in about 3 or 4 months' time, this all changed for GB boxing.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. It's
and then the second thing is, I don't like it when boxers only show up when they've got fights for us. That card in Cardiff was terrible, right? That was terrible. That had to have been loss making. That was an absolute waste of time from top to bottom. I don't care what anyone says. That card didn't need to happen. And for no one to have put their back into trying to promote that, for no one to put their back into trying to make that card interesting or viable, what's Sky doing in boxing? What's the plan? I just thought that was a bit of a mess.
Yeah. Pierce Brosnan's going to play Brendan Ingle in the film. What do you think to that?
Good. The right caliber of guy. So I respect that. Can he play Brendan? Yeah, that's not for me to judge. There are people who know Brendan better than me, so they can judge that. But why not, mate? I think I'd like to know the full Brendan story. There are bits of it that I know, and the little anecdotes he's told me when I was younger. But all that kind of there's a period, isn't there, Russ? That kind of from like 1975 to 85. The early days like Glyn Rhodes and that. That would be quite an interesting story as far as I'm concerned. I'd quite like to see that bit. Like, how did it go from Brendan Ingle just training guys in Sheffield to suddenly, he's almost like an alchemist, isn't he? He's trying to find that formula of turning iron into gold. And then he managed to do it. And that's going to be the interesting bit in the film. Like, how does he figure out how this Ingle thing's going to work?
Who's going to play Flex?
I heard either Ronnie Coleman or not Ronnie Coleman anymore. Probably Phil Heath or Jay Cutler.
How are they going to play him?
Yeah, just shave their heads, man. That'll be all right.
Somebody told me right said Fred's going to play Dominic King, and apparently that's true. So I don't know.
Ross Kemp.
No, one of the right said Fred one, the stocky short one, is going to play Dominic Ingle. Not the other one who wears the leather chat pants. Although Dominic, didn't you used to wear chat pants when you were in that bar? Pop, bang on that one, Flex.
Which bar? Dempsey's.
No, he were in that. He was lead singer in a band, wasn't he, Dominic? Sorry, a band. And he used to go around bars playing. Apparently, a really good singer. Well, looking for Fast Car Eddie, that single that he put in charts and did on his own. Well, that were interesting. Do you remember it? Imagine a grown man in his 50s getting up in the morning and saying, "Today, I'm going to write a song and put my own money into it and get it out in the charts. And the song's going to be called Looking for Fast Car Eddie. I'm going to do that today." Can you imagine that? A grown man getting up in the morning and doing that. It takes some gonars, doesn't it?
Did he get paid for it though?
I don't know, but Eddie's not worked with him since, has he? So that must have backfired him, but that's what you get in it when you're knocking around with coppers. Speaking of coppers, Boxing King Media lives up here on the same street as my cousin. He lives at Midlet Street. My cousin's at the end. Is that who you mean him there, Russ? I went, is that him? He's his old Billy. I went, how's about that one?
Hey?
Now, why would we have a policeman deciding to be a YouTuber in the sport of boxing, going to shows, going to gyms, going to after parties, and doing all that for what? Averaging 20-odd thousand views a video, but it's got nearly 900,000 subs. How can that be? He's certainly got everybody's attention in the sport of boxing, hasn't he? Probably because they wanted it. But why would we have a policeman infiltrating boxing? And what do they know already? And are they recording everybody? And are they filming you all? Are they jotting things down? Because these people are supposed to arrest the family, aren't they? I just want to know why. And I think anybody who goes on that channel, don't come crying to me if you get your doors kicked in one morning and red dots put on you. That's all I'm going to say. You'll be very careful.
You
know what I am, Gully, if you've got a problem with that. You know,
can I also say though, fair play. Like maybe the one benefit of being a copper is he knows how to ask the right questions because he does do good videos. Whatever you want to say,
he's very good, isn't he? But let's have it right. He's a copper, and I don't want him round here. I've told these, he can't be like that. He's got a big channel. Do you see what I mean? And he's not here. I says, you what? I'm out of here if you want him down here. Gone. And Kevin there got 5 years for that. Hey? Do you know what I mean? First offence. So, do you know what I mean? Why would you want him down here, him? Old Bill. I don't fucking get it, mate. All them next door, they know my opinion on it. Oh, you're not going to start now if he's at that show, so I don't want him near me if he's there. That's it. I'd rather sit next to Dave Caldwell than next to him.
What about sitting on Caldwell's lap?
No, I sat in front of him thinking he's punching above his weight with that chick. But no, listen, mate, it ain't for me. Listen, they all want to go on, don't they, on his channel and all this, whatever and that. But listen, shithousers, lot on yours. That's how I look at it.
No, I don't. You know what? It's a reminder, Russ, that all these guys like to flirt with the idea of criminality, but really, it's not them. Because if it was them, right, if they were really those sorts of people, they wouldn't be around coppers, full stop. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This boxing thing is a myth. People are scared of people because of these reputations, and like the reputations aren't real. And in like 80% of the cases, these reputations aren't real. They're just not.
Half of
If
them
you
have
want
not
to know,
been at
hmm?
Nick. Half of them have not even been at Nick. Yeah, you done porridge poker. Yeah, oh, I have. You haven't. You did a week for your fines. Stop making out your papillon like me. Do you know what I mean?
I
Oh,
love that. Russ is like, if you haven't done 17 years in the hole in Lindholm, don't talk to me.
hey, let me tell you this. Me and my mate got carried from F Wing, Fraggle Rock, Lindholm. Me and my pal from Hyde Park. They took us out there, put us in block in Lindholm, and then stuck us in Moorlands and Basic for months. But that block in Lindholm is savage. They've got a chopping block in the block, and they throw you on that, pin you down, and cut all your clothes off you, leave you in niff. That's what they do in Lindholm, mate. They're old school. Old school dogs in there if you want to mess about. But no, I ain't got a problem with anybody, right? In boxing, but come on, please, press access. Come on, it's bad enough with Les Pops, ex-chief of police, telling me I can't have my second license on board meeting. And what's that other one that worked there for years? I'm not sure if he's there now. Nipper Reed, is it? There's other coppers there, isn't there, as well, who work for board. The board feels safe having them on payroll, don't they? I don't want to see it, but we've got it in media now. Is that what we've got now? Hey? Do you know what I mean? Oh, unbelievable, man. I ain't got no time for him. So, but he's more than welcome to have a dust with me anytime he wants. Gully, come and see me. Let's get them on. You're about the same size as me, aren't you? Big Malk's a bit too big for me. I saw a picture of Big Malk next to somebody over there. Big Malk's turning into a big lump, isn't he?
Wait, he's getting ready for you.
Big Malk, Big Malk, I told you it's no good unless you can get down to 147. Oh, Big Malk. Do you know why they call him Big Malk? Because his ideas are big. Right, let's go through this. Let's run through this lot now. What we got left? Let's have a look. How long we got left? 25 minutes. Right, Terry Harper against Rihanna Dixon in July. What do you think to that, Terry?
A fight no one cares about.
Don't you care about it?
Yeah. Been waiting years for this fight. This is the exact fight. Like, this is gonna make me fall in love with boxing again, mate. Yeah, sorry. What was I thinking? Whew, let me go and buy 2 subscriptions to watch that, so I can watch it twice.
Right, Anthony Yard against Buatsi. That's gone quiet. What do you think to that fight?
Oh my god! So there's an interesting game in this one, isn't there? So what's clear is Yard and Tunde want something else. I don't know if it's more money. I don't know if it's a new promoter, but they're agitating now. They don't feel that they're getting what they're worth. So what Frank's done is he's gone, right, let's make Buatsi versus Yard for is it the WBO?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's been ordered. So now I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, now why has Frank done this? Frank's smart. So Frank knows if Yard takes the fight, he will have more options on him. And if Yard to lose and Buatsi to win, Frank will probably get a little slice of Buatsi as well. So, Frank's just putting the chess pieces in place to let Yard know who's really in charge here. So look, I can make this happen. So now the question for Yard is, does he want the Buatsi fight or not? Now there's no reason to turn it down. And let's see. I just think sometimes fighters get the wrong idea. I don't know who they're listening to, but I would have known from the start Frank was never going to let one of his prize assets go. And what other promoter would have let Yard have the career he's had? Like, Yard has fought Beterbiev, Kovalev, Lyndon Arthur, right? So Yard's had 4 fights with people where we're like, I can see why he had those fights. Everyone else, we can't even pronounce their surnames. Yeah. Do you see what I mean?
Do you think it's in tatters, Yard's career, really? Because he's won note, has he?
He's made a ton of money. So
he's won note.
I don't know if his career is in tatters. It may be unfulfilled, but then, like, you're in an era of like Bivol and Beterbiev. Like, who was going to win anything in this era? You see what I mean? We almost went from like the Ward and Kovalev era into that Beterbiev Bivol era. There was almost like no space in between for anyone to come through.
Yeah. Okay. Sean Yaxley got done at 9th round in British title eliminator. Joe G's fighter up Scotland. Can he come again, Sean?
Why not?
Yeah.
I think at British level, you just got to be big, strong, and brave, and if you can do that for 12 rounds, you can normally win a British title.
Yeah. Okay. Devin Haney, is he damaged goods now? Willie Sue Garcia, and Garcia, has he got away with it scot-free?
So I have no idea where the story's at the moment. So is there going to be a hearing or not? Is a key question here. This is the thing. Oh my god! This is where doping becomes messy, and this is why people. There's every chance that his stuff was spiked, because you can buy pre-workouts for us that are deliberately spiked with stuff. That's when you get that feeling of, "Oof, this pre-workout's good." And I don't think boxers in general should take pre-workout. I think all you really need is a bit of fruit juice, some salt in there, and some bicarb of soda before you train. That's enough to fire everything up. You get the vasodilation, you get the kind of improved sodium balance, so you can actually perform. Don't know why people are effing around with all of this. Get this pre-workout, that pre-workout, because all this stuff is made in the same factory, so you get a lot of cross-contamination because the ventilation's poor. And so that might be why Garcia did it. But the reality is we need to find out why. And if he doesn't have to face a hearing, then that's a real problem. And I kind of feel for Haney now, because Haney took an absolute beating. Like, he took a life-changing hiding. And he won't be the same guy after that, not physically, not psychologically. And if we don't get to the bottom of why Garcia did fail those tests, then I think it's a problem.
Do you think that Haney will sue him
What are you suing him for?
for getting knocked about in ring and losing?
But that's on Haney. Haney can move his head, he can move his feet. That's
Garcia's a drug cheat, isn't he?
Well, we need to establish that. That's why we need a hearing. You can't sue until it's been established.
Yeah, I understand that, but he's failed a dope test, hasn't he? And they're screaming that it's Eddie Hills has contaminated it and stitched it up, aren't they? That's what they're all saying, isn't it now? So what?
So
Far-fetched, isn't it?
No. But the thing is, and it gets tricky because, like, people are going to ask in the comments, I imagine, yeah, what about Conor Benn? So the difference between this and Conor Benn's is very simple. There's no underground lab that's making clomiphene. Clomiphene's a pharma grade product because it's so cheap to make, you couldn't undercut big pharma. So most people buy their clomiphene and it's pharma grade. And because it's pharma grade, you can't have it in another supplement because no one bothers to make it. Whereas in this one, Ostarine is in pre-workouts. There are some pre-workouts that have Ostarine in them. There's also a chance that Garcia could have been in contact with someone. You know, he was being stupid walking around topless. There's every chance of like topical contact with someone who may have it. There's all sorts of things that we need the science to reveal to us. So we need the whole, like we said with Conor Benn, we need the scientific process to eliminate things so they can't make up excuses. And then we can go, right, he did cheat. Okay, cool. Now Devin does what he has to do.
Well, I think Devin Haney, if he's been beat by a cheat, he's got to feel a bit gutted, really, hasn't he? Because he's been knocked about, and maybe that wouldn't have happened if the guy weren't juiced up.
Maybe it would have.
I mean, I look at this situation now. Devin Haney, he's got to be wanting to get. They're trying to get it changed to a win. I think they might be overreaching there, but they surely might be able to get it changed to a no contest. Terry, is that right?
If you found that he did fail the test and that there was no mitigation, no excuse, then that would be ruled a no contest in New York, I think. But you're not going to get it turned over to win because Devin Haney didn't win. He didn't come close to winning that fight.
No. Yeah, it's okay. Billy Joe Saunders. He's come out and he said Netflix are interested in him and Eubanks in talks. Now, Bricktop don't want him back, and it looks like Eddie Hills don't want to work with him. Their deal's ended and there's no coming back from Eddie. So Eubank, where is he now? And would the fans buy into that? Billy Joe's been out at ring over 3 years now. Would the fans buy into Billy Joe against Eubank? Yes or no?
No, no, I think the world's moved on. After that Canelo thing, I think the world's moved on. That was probably when we found out who Billy Joe really was, and that's a wrap for me. As far as I'm concerned, that's it. There's no, you know, there's no real grudge between Eubank and Billy Joe for us to get invested in. They fought once upon a time, and that's that. Like, I don't want to see it again. I didn't want to see it again back then.
No. Do you think Billy Joe could roll back the years, or do you think it'd just be a gimmick fight for no belt and they'd be charging pay-per-view? They'd like sell it like a WWE thing, wouldn't they? Do you think?
Mate, name me a boxer that's rolled back the years. They don't roll back the years.
We know that, don't we? But I mean, I remember years ago watching Kirtland Lang come back. After he'd had a few losses, and they were saying he's going to roll back the years and that, but they just never can they? Really?
No. Nah, your body just responds differently. Once you get past 31, 32, yeah, you're starting to deal with your physical decline at that point. And experience will get you a certain amount of the way there, but your body will fail you at some point. And Billy Joe will find this when he gets into camp. His body will start to fail him.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. Do you want to give Tegan Scott a mention?
Oh, he's with GB now.
Yeah.
Yeah, good kid. He was going to box one of the lads I used to train, a kid called Elliot, but I don't think did Elliot make the semis in the ABAs. I was looking forward to that fight.
You remember when I had him on my channel when he was a 15-year-old?
15-year-old. Yeah, you're the guy that put me onto him.
Well, I seen him on bag and that, and I thought, who's this big lumpy, a big old 180-pounder, 15-year-old, and a right nice kid in that, and I thought he was all right. He reminded me a bit of Liam Cameron, and young Liam Cameron. Right nice.
Yeah.
And I said then he'd go out way, but then again, I always say about everybody I meet,
Well, there you go,
man. To do well, don't you? You just want them
Yeah.
to do well. A bit like Quinn, Chris Medley's kid, he's doing well at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think Tegan's all right. Like, and if he stays with Glyn Rhodes, let's hope he can be Glyn's first world champion.
So that's going to be interesting because he's going to miss this Olympic cycle. He's not going to qualify for that. So how long do you stay with GB for? Do you do the Commonwealth and then turn over? Or do you do a year there, see what they're up to, get a few hints and tips and turn over? Because he's not going to stick around for the next Olympics, that's for sure.
Is it next Commonwealth, then Europeans, Worlds, and then Olympics again after that? Is that how it works?
It's something like that, yeah. He won't stick around for the next Olympics. He'll be too old by then.
Do you think, yeah?
Look, you know me, Russ. I don't like people. I think you should get about 3 years on that system, tops. Once you start getting 4 and 5 years in, it starts to harm your development. Yeah. Like there are amateur rounds and there are pro rounds. You want as many pro rounds in your career as you can get.
Right. Okay. What you got planned for the rest of the day, Terry?
Just some hard graft, mate. Like on the graft, on tools, mate. On tools.
I'm gonna finish me work. I've only got my sit-ups to do, just 10 sets of 50, and then I'm done for the fitness thing. I've got dogs out, and then I'm gonna get all these out, and I'll get them all uploaded, pick some thumbnails, and then 1 o'clock in there, I'm gonna do 3 hours on that table. So I've got a game tonight, kids. Pop, bang. So I'm gonna get right, yeah. And
the hustler.
Some spondoolies off this guy who's actually fancies his chances. But if he beats me, he beats me. We're gonna have a knock. We're gonna have a good knock. I'm gonna brush my table. Let me have a look what I've got here. We've got a brush in here. Yeah, I'm gonna get a brush. I don't know what this guy wants to play, you see, because he's a bit of a 9-ball dude, and I don't think I'm really a 9-ball man, mate. Because you can work hard at a 9-ball, then somebody just take play away from you with one shot. I don't feel safe playing. I feel vulnerable playing 9-ball because it's alien to me.
That's how you go. Just clear up. Once you're on the table, just one visit to the table.
One visit. Well, I prefer 8 ball, don't I? Which should really be one visit if you get in amongst them. If you get 2 shots and you're not clearing in one visit, you're no good. But what I play for 3 hours, I just break off and just keep going. And when I get down to the last ball, I re-rack the other 14 and I just try and keep it going if I can. That's well, just pot them anywhere. Just trying to get my touch right. That's all. Because if I have a week off or 5 days off, I'm all over the place, you know. So
Yeah.
I get my touch right, and then I'm all right. Obviously, I try mad shots, don't I, and stuff like that. I'm not into all that. Same, like, I like up and down, but I feel all right today. Feel good. Have a shake and
Porky O'Sullivan.
I'm tin of tomatoes. I've been putting tomatoes now, Terry. I think it's the right good breakfast, you know. I really do. Have you ever tried them? Just plum tomatoes on their own.
I'm not really a breakfast guy. Like I generally don't eat in the morning.
Yeah, no, I do. Like after I've worked out, but I've just like plum tomatoes at the moment. I'm just going through a fight. I'd be a cheap date, wouldn't I?
Mate, well, I wouldn't know.
No, I think last time we went out, you had a burger, didn't you? You were like,
there you go, mate. Hey,
you? Hey,
you want to run this past legal? Make sure you're allowed to say this on YouTube.
no, last time I went out, you were like burger, don't you? You always have burger, don't you? And chips.
Nah, that was
Burger with stick through it.
Yeah, keep everything in place.
All right, then. Well, listen, I'm gonna get off. Give Rico my best if you see him now that he's retired. Rico, come see me.
All right, mate.
You take care. Cheers.
Take care, mate. All right, bye.
Well, that was Terry. Nice to have him on the channel. I think I better get something done. It's all go, isn't it? It's all go. I've got this to sort in the driving license forms as well. Anybody ever get form? Not HMRC, it's driving license, DVLA in it. Nightmares, aren't they? I'm not a form man, mate. I'm not a form person. All right. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Jake from Wolverhampton, thought you were getting in touch with me. I'll get you on channel. All right, don't tell me you're bottling it, kid. Go on, peace out.